Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast. This is episode number 35. We are right on task to hit 50. That was my goal earlier this year when we launched this podcast, was to get to 50 straight podcasts, and we have not missed a beat. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the REI Inner Circle YouTube channel. Please like all the videos, comment on as many of the videos as you can. Any videos that you watch that pour into you in any way, please comment, share your thoughts on that content. The more comments that we get, it's just better for the YouTube, Google algorithm. Okay, I'm just pulling up. So we're going to do something different before we start tonight. There was a huge event that took place in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago called Invest Fest. You've heard me, you've seen me wear the shirt, Assets Over Liabilities. Earn Your Leisure was birthed about 2.5 years ago, and they have created a tremendous, I believe, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, financial empowerment movements on the planet. I can't speak for other countries, but I do know the movement that they have created, that I've joined when they started, I believe is the biggest that the United States has ever seen since the Civil Rights Movement. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Boys and girls, it's crazy. We're getting a younger audience as well. I was looking at some analytics, and you kids, I love it that you're getting this information. We have an audience of the ages between 13 and 24. All right, so I gotta say, boys and girls, understand that my content, this content must be used for informational and sometimes entertainment purposes only. It is very important that you do your own diligence before implementing any of the methods mentioned and using any of the tools shared. Any results shared on this platform are not typical. Any investments that you make sure that you consult with a licensed professional, and also know that they're based on your own personal financial circumstances. And also fact check anything that I say or any of my guests say on this platform. Do your due diligence. So we got that out the way. I want to play a clip from CNN, right? And when I saw this clip, I said to myself, like, our ancestors are smiling right now. Frederick Douglass, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, and many others are the freedom fighters that they're smiling. And I feel as though their spirits are speaking through these gentlemen in this clip that I'm going to share. I shared it. Some of you probably already saw the clip because I put it on Instagram as soon as I saw it. So I'm going to share this clip with you all and share sound. I'm going to share sound. Very, very powerful clip before we get started.
With the midterm elections just months away and the next presidential contest a little more than 2 years away, many Black have a message for politicians, especially President Joe Biden. Pay attention to our economic needs. Inflation is hurting a lot of Black families and Black entrepreneurs. They want more access to capital. Thousands of people recently gathering in Atlanta to educate themselves about investing and starting businesses and to demand their voices be heard. We have more tonight from CNN's Ryan Young.
How tough have the last 2 years been? Woo! The last 2 years have been really tough.
The pandemic and inflation have hit Americans hard, increasing long-standing disparities in some communities. And African Americans want the president's attention.
As a middle-class black woman, I don't see the push for the black economic community like really exploding. I think the message is being delivered, but I don't think the message is being captured in the way that we want it to be captured.
Black Americans account for $1.6 trillion of spending power in the United States, but often feel ignored.
We want ours. We need ours. We need to have access to capital. We want action. We need action. We demand action.
Earlier this summer, Vice President Kamala Harris announced new public-private initiatives in underserved communities, hoping to kickstart major minority investments.
And I believe, given the breadth of the financial disparities in our nation, the public and the private sector must join forces to take on these challenges.
Thousands of African Americans travel from all over the country to InvestFest in Atlanta in hopes of learning the keys to financial literacy and starting their own businesses. This at a time when African American unemployment is nearly twice the national average. Those here tell me creating jobs is a priority.
The black community has a pre-existing pipeline to prison, but we don't have a pre-existing pipeline to wealth.
Film, TV star, and producer Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey helped headline this event, which is all about education and investing. It's the brainchild of these four men who helped create Earn Your Leisure, a financial literacy movement focused on helping black Americans.
This is a movement, and we call it that very intentionally, right? We grew up and heard things about the March on Washington, right, and the Civil Rights Movement, and that had its time, but right now we're in the financial revolution.
We need to figure out how we can actually attack from a highest level and build our own venture capital funds and have our own private equity firms and do international business, and then we don't actually have to demand the politician to do anything. We can force them to do things. You force them to do things by money.
A recent poll found that 55% of black and 48% of Latino adults say they are currently facing serious financial problems due to inflation. For white adults, it's 38%.
The wealth disparity between blacks and whites was greater in 2018 than 1968. But everything we do needs to be focused on advancing opportunity economically.
Don Peebles beat the odds. His companies control more than $7 billion worth of investments. He believes African Americans need more direct investment from the Biden administration.
I know President Biden. I've known him for many years. He's a very good person. I believe that he is missing the mark on his most loyal and valuable constituency, because without black voters, he would be a private citizen.
With the midterms looming, Democrats will count on African Americans to turn out and vote, but many are hoping for a return on their long-term investment.
Poor people vote, rich people lobby. At the end of the day, if we want to get something done, we got to vote with our dollar.
Ryan Young, CNN, Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much for that.
Hey, we got to clap it up for those brothers. Like they hit it right on target. Okay. These guys are younger than me. Some in their late 20s, mid 30s, late 30s, right? These guys ain't even 40 yet, right? Donahue Peebles, he sent a message straight to the White House. If you don't know who Donahue Peebles is, the late Mayor Marion Barry helped jumpstart his real estate career. He's one of the first African-American developers in Washington, D.C., coming out in the 80s. And then he moved his business down into the Miami, Florida market. When I say he's one of the first African-American developers, he's the first African-American developer to develop a property in Manhattan. Okay. He's building the tallest skyscraper in Manhattan. I believe it's called Trade Center. No. I don't want to mess this up. It's called Affirmation. I believe it's the Affirmation Tower. All right, look it up. But that's neither here nor there. The message that I wanted to bring across on tonight's episode is the power that our dollars really have. This is what I've been talking about on this podcast in reference to Frederick Douglass. He was able to move the needle because, and it's never talked about, because he had obtained and he worked towards building wealth. He invested his money. And what those young brothers are saying, they're saying the same exact thing. The same thing that helped free us before in the 1800s is the same thing that's going to help free us today in 2022. So it's a lot to talk about. What I recommend is that you all share that video clip. I'm going to put it in the chat. Like this clip, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your coworkers. This video clip has to be shared. I sent a message to Frederick Douglass's great-great-great-grandson on Instagram, and I said, man, these gentlemen are speaking with the same vigor, tenacity, and they're speaking with intention, just like Frederick did in the 1800s. So I'm going to send this clip to you all. I hope you bookmark it and share it, because we're in the midst of a revolution, folks, a financial revolution. All right. And we're not talking about a revolution where there's violence. The financial revolution is happening as we speak right now. It's happening in the corporate offices. It's happening in your neighborhood. It's happening at your bank. There is a fight happening for wealth in this country right now. And the looks of it is we're losing, folks. We're losing. We're losing for a couple of reasons. We're losing because we won't invest in our education, our financial education. And when I say that, not just our dollar, but our time, right? So we're not arming ourselves. Like if it was a real revolution and we had to choose a side, the side that's armed is most likely going to win, right? So we have to arm ourselves here. Once we arm ourselves here, we can arm ourselves in our bank accounts, right? So that's what those brothers are talking about. Like the civil rights movement had its time. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? One of Dr. King's last interviews, he said, we're coming for our check. And that's the return on investment that Don Lemon was talking about. So those guys are a blessing. I hope you follow their YouTube channel, Earn Your Leisure. The brother speaking was 19 Keys. The other brother, MG, the mortgage guy. We're all saying the same thing, folks. We just have to keep moving into action. Speaking of folks moving into action, I want to shout out one of my one-on-one students. This guy's taking action every day. And I usually do this on one-on-one Zoom calls, but this is Tim. He just sent me a message today. He said, Marcel, I'm out in these streets. I don't know if you folks can see this, but Tim is taking video. He's out looking at properties. He's bought 6, going on 8 local government foreclosures. And he travels. Like he's an out-of-state investor. He travels to his deals, as you should, right? If you're buying properties in other states, you need to, you can get on the Spirit flight. You can get on the Southwest flight. Go check on your properties, folks. Don't just buy something over the internet. All right. But I had to shout Tim out because he's out in the trenches every day. He's doing this full time. Congratulations, Tim. I forgot to shout you out in reference to you going full time with real estate again. Tim was already in real estate 20-some years ago. He's back in real estate. So shout out to Inner Circle member Tim Perry. So Direct Mail Wednesday. We're going to stay on track here. Direct Mail Wednesday. I'm actually going to share a mail piece that one of my students sent out that absolutely works. As if it's one of my students that sent it out, it works. Okay. So this is a mail piece. It's a front and back. It's a lot going on here. Now, first thing that stands out is the color. It's green. All right. Statistics have shown when people see the color green, they move into action. I mean, our subconscious mind, when the light turns green every day, where do we go, right? So it was a play on that with this mail piece. There's also an urgent notice message, okay, on one side of it. And then there is houses wanted banner message on the other side, okay? Now this is a template, and all we did was plug and play. So this template that we used, it allowed us to put the name of the owners, the first name of the owner. It says, hi, Jerome. I want to buy your house. I want to buy a house in your area, and I was hoping to speak to you about buying your property. I pay all the costs. All right. I'm going to give you all some real time. Let's see here. Some real time. Like, this is a real time deal that Derek obtained via direct mail. So this is a house in a suburb of his marketplace, and it's not in bad shape. It needs cosmetic repairs, need to finish some things up. But these are the types of deals that are out here. Okay. And if you look at the date, it says Monday, 9 p.m. So this is a deal from this week from one of his direct mail pieces. And I'm sharing it with you all, right? So it goes on to say, for more details, visit his website. And it says no fees, no commission, no title insurance, no escrow fees, no transfer tax, no repairs, and as is. Okay. Now, this is a thing, right? On one of the last episodes, somebody sent out a direct mail piece and they put something in their bullet points that didn't even make sense, but it must be working. That's why I say it doesn't always have to be perfect. If it's working, it's working. Why fix it, right? So on the back, there's a more detailed message, right? And it says, hi, Jerome. So it's very personable. It doesn't have Jerome's last name. And he goes into introducing himself. My name is Derek. I'm interested in buying your property at 123 Main Street. And in this as is condition, I'm looking to buy several houses throughout Baltimore this month. Okay. I'm looking to own more homes in this area and can offer you top dollar and pay you cash. If you're interested in selling, you can sell it to me and avoid the costs associated with selling a home. I buy as is, and you don't even have to fix it up. No little trips to Home Depot. I like that. Now that's Derek's personality bleeding through this. And I want you all to put your personality. You may not go to Home Depot. You may go to Lowe's, all right? Or you may go to the local hardware store. I don't know if they exist, but in the early 2000s, there was a lot of them around town, okay? You don't have to wait for the right buyer with the right offer. I'm ready and able to buy right now. So he puts in a sense of urgency here. Just give me a call and I can give you a fair offer. We can close on the day of your choice. If I don't answer, just leave a message about your house and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So he lets him know that he may not be able to pick up the phone, but leave a message. I love it. And this is one of our most high performing postcards, if you were wondering. And folks, I'm giving you a gift tonight. Like this falls right into the lesson. Okay. This falls right into the lesson, and we are on lesson number 9. But folks, I've read this entire postcard on this episode. I mean, read the last sentence. If I don't answer, just leave a message about your house and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. It's really that easy. Sincerely, Derek. P.S. I can only buy so many houses. Please call me so I can show you how fast and easy it is. Call today. That simple. Sending these out. So this runs right into right into our lesson, the Freedom and Wealth lesson. We're on lesson number 9. And that is, I want you all to take action with the information I just shared. If you have to buy index cards and put a stamp on them, if your budget is just that low, buy a pack of 100 index cards. And if you've been following the lesson since the beginning of this month of driving around, locating distressed looking property, and then reaching out to the owners, then I want you to, for those people, I want you to implement direct mail. And the easy way you can do that, you're not going to get the standard postcard, the standard index card. Get the biggest one you can buy, right? And I want you to write the message that I shared off of this card, off of this postcard, if you have a shoestring budget. If you don't, if you have a budget for marketing for your business, go to marcelsdirectmail.com. That's going to link you right to the same exact mail house that I use in my business, marcelsdirectmail.com. If you have a graphic designer, great. You can upload your postcard designs right to the platform. All right. So the lesson tonight is more of an assignment, is take what I just shared with you from that postcard, put it on your own postcard, and send it out to your prospects. If you got 100, I want you to send out 100 a week. Now, as postcards start coming back to you, you're going to take those, you're not going to continue to send those out each week, right? But this is what you're looking for. You're looking for people to call you and say, take me off your list. You're looking for people to call you and say, I'm not interested in selling. You're looking for people to call you and say, I'm actually looking to buy another property. Now, if you have more than 100, you got 1,000. Well, you know what you got to do? You got to send 1,000 out until you get a response every week. Folks, like I said earlier, we're in a financial revolution right now. We're in it. You heard the saying, I think the Black Panther said it, the revolution won't be televised. That was 40 years ago. It's televised now. We just saw. That was a call to arms. That was a call to action on CNN, on national TV. Like if somebody text me, man, that was a wake-up call. Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, now is the time to arm your minds. If you missed the last recession of 2007, 2008, don't miss this next one coming. Don't miss it. Be ready. The only way you're ready is you're educating yourself and you're taking action with the information. By you joining us tonight, there's a lot of people that's going to be left behind. It's a lot of people that take these podcasts for granted. It should have been 200,000 people at InvestFest. It was 13,000. That's a great start. That's a great start. Should have been 200,000. And just like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman, she would go back down south and get people to come back north with her. But there was a lot of people that wanted to stay on the plantation. She couldn't save everybody because everybody didn't have a mindset. And who knows the fate that those people that didn't have the mindset, who knows what they had to endure? Who knows who knows what you would have to endure if you don't arm yourselves today? Or who knows what your children or grandchildren or great grandchildren will endure if you don't arm yourselves with this information today? Who knows what our ancestors had to endure during slavery? I mean, we know from the history books, but we don't personally know what they went through for not making that choice to run. Let's talk about one of the recent battles that's taking place. And it hit home because one of our freedom and wealth seekers recently went through this in 2022. And I sent that text off earlier. May have shocked some of you. Said this is really pissing me off, right? It just made me mad saying this because it seems like every year we go through this, right? So I'm gonna share a article. First, I'm gonna share a Google page with you all. So I just typed in ABC News Black Family Appraisal. So if you slide through here, right? Okay, the latest alleged incident pops up 4 days ago, 4 hours ago, and then you see October 14th, 2020, right? And then there's December 14th, 2021. Black family sees home value increase 500K after erasing, their culture out of the house. Family claims racial bias affected housing appraisal in 2020, October. The list goes on and on and on, ladies and gentlemen. This is the latest article. This is ABC News. One of the most well-respected, and I said I'm gonna just put ABC News up because everybody in the world knows this podcast lands in South Africa. Everybody knows ABC. Home owning while Black couple alleges bias in appraisal, right? Now, this couple happens to be from Baltimore, my market, right? A Baltimore family is suing an appraiser and a mortgage lender after their home was allegedly undervalued severely because they are Black. Now, they're saying allegedly. It's a fact, folks. It's just, this is happening too often, right? So before the birth of the internet, I'm talking while I've been on Earth, 80s, 90s, I'm sure these practices, I'm not even gonna say sure. I know these practices were taking place. They were taking place. So what does this tell me? We always learn something when we read articles. Okay, we always learn something. We need more Black appraisers. We need more Black bankers, like people that actually own the banks and have the capital. And this goes back to the CNN interview with the Earn Your Leisure brothers when Rashad said, we need more access to capital. There are a lot of us that are smart enough, that are responsible enough to handle and manage capital, but we haven't been given that opportunity. And that's one of the initiatives Donahue Peebles is pushing right now, because he from a single parent household. Mayor Marion Barry saw something in him and said, This young black man needs an opportunity. And that's what happened. He gave him an opportunity to get involved in certain projects, real estate projects in Washington, D.C. And he was very successful. So when we see articles like this, we know there is the playing field is not even. The playing field is not even. Let's read this article. How much does it pay to hide the photos of your family at your home or anything else that shows your race? If you're black and trying to find out how much your house is worth, one family suggests it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. A couple in Baltimore is suing an appraiser and mortgage lender alleging their home was severely undervalued because they are black, blocking them from refinancing their mortgage. Now that's the wealth that they weren't able to access. The couple says a separate appraisal done after whitewashing the place by removing family photos and having a white colleague stand in for them pegged the home's value higher by $278,000. Now that's ludicrous, folks. And you know, this has been going on for decades. I have some very wealthy friends that happen to be African American. They recently, in the last 5 years, sold their homes. And I know for a fact, because I saw the pictures of their homes, they took down pictures that they were black. They took the pictures down. And one of them actually hired a white real estate agent to represent them just to sell their house because they were in a white neighborhood. Like that was their mindset, and that's what they did. And this has happened all over the country because of practices like this that are known, that are now being put on Front Street. Now people are starting to fight back. Again, folks, we're in a financial revolution, and this is one of the battles that has to happen to make change. The two were shocked at the appraisal and recognized that the low valuation was because of racial discrimination, according to the suit filed earlier this week in U.S. District Court in Maryland. Officials at the lender accusing the case, Loan Depot, declined to discuss the allegations, but in a statement, the publicly traded company said it strongly opposes bias, while appraisals are performed independently by outside expert appraisal firms. All participants in the home finance process must work to find ways to contribute to eradicating biases. Now, I have some friends in the mortgage business, and during the 2007-2008 housing crash, who was affected the most? African Americans, right? And I remember when they were rebuilding, they told me that lenders definitely lent money differently to African Americans than white Americans. This is a fact. If you know anybody that's in the mortgage industry, they will tell you. I mean, we've seen the news lately. We weren't hearing about this in 2009, 10, 11, 12. You just heard about Wells Fargo, and I think they're settling a case, okay, or class action lawsuit. The appraisal company in the case 2020 valuations could not be immediately reached for comment. Neither it nor the individual appraiser named in the suit has lawyers listed yet in the court filings. The situation began last year. So I'm not going to read this entire article, folks. I want you all to continue reading this. But this is a shame. Okay, that this family has to go through this, and all they're trying to do is build wealth. That's all they're trying to do here. is access the value, the equity that they've built. I don't know how many years they've been in this home to continue to build wealth. See, with equity, when you own a property, if you live in it, when you refinance your property, well, that money is not taxed. And depending on your financial IQ, you can invest that money in the stock market, life insurance, real estate, businesses. I mean, think about what was said in the CNN interview. We have a pipeline to prison, but not a pipeline to wealth. Think about what was said. I mean, everything that needed to be said in that interview was said. And when you get the pipeline cut, because that's just what happened there. Like, who knows why their family needed that money? The point is, they should have been able to access the money without any question. The appraisal came back with a $278,000 difference. That changes where you can send your children to school. That can change a lot of things. So this is the environment we're in. The title of tonight's podcast had the word investor in there as well. And if you've been following this podcast, just go back to the podcast with Derek Anthony, who I just shared his postcard, right? Who recently sold a property he renovated. And the appraisal came back. It was between $40,000 and $60,000 less than a property that was renovated on the same exact block right across the street and actually sold for more, but the investor was white. So you may be hearing about another lawsuit happening soon because we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Put in the chat if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Even once you get the information, you do the right thing, and then it's still not an even playing field. But I learned this a long time ago when I got into the real estate business, is that as long as things are in black and white, you got a clear-cut case. That family, we're talking about black and white. I'm talking about ink on white paper, right? We got it, black and white. They have two appraisals over a $250,000 difference. Derek, who recently sold a house as an investor, has two recorded sales, same property, sold on the same exact day for different properties, but one owner's black, one owner's white. Tonight's case study, let's see where I'm at on time. Tonight's case study, actually, a lot of people have been hitting me up about wholesaling houses. And that's something that I started doing early in my career, still wholesale to this day. I don't think I'll ever stop wholesaling deals. This deal that I'm talking about is a deal in West Baltimore. This is how it started, in a community called Edmondson Village, right? And what attracted me to this deal was there was news, there was buzz that a local church was going to be redeveloping this area. And I believe it was a public-private partnership. The city had some things to do with this development. And it was this old apartment development that was vacant. I believe the city owned, and they agreed with the church. The church ended up selling their property, and they demolished this this old development, right? And it's a neighborhood right along this new development. So I said to myself, this was in my early 20s, I said, I am going to focus on that small neighborhood behind this church. And I did. So I sent out direct mail pieces, just like this, right? To all of the, and you may want to write this down, all of the absentee owners. And what I used to do is I would go on to the public records, the real estate records in my city, and I would look for all of the free and clear properties. And it would take me hours and hours and hours to do, but I did it, right? And I made hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this. Now, in 2022, you literally can go to a website, click a box, check mark a box saying you want all the free and clear properties in this zip code in a matter of seconds. So the work that I put in for hours now only takes a matter of seconds. Literally right at your fingertips. You can do it right from your cell phone now. Okay. If you're wondering what that site is, it's uspropertysearch.com. I've been using that site for almost 7 years now. uspropertysearch.com. Don't Google it, put it right up in the web browser. Go to the site. They have a 7-day free trial. So anyway, Miss Harris calls me. Miss Harris calls me. She says, Marcel, you inquired about my property. I forget the name of the street. But long story short, I didn't buy that property, but I met Miss Harris at the property. And she said, Marcel, my nephew or her son, so the nephew or her son was thinking about living in this property. So I said, okay, let me know if they decide not to. I'm still interested in buying this property. Okay. She said, well, if you're buying property right now, I do have another property on Frederick Avenue. And the reason why I'm bringing up this story is one of my best friends I grew up with recently held a Under Armour basketball All-American camp where you had the top 40 players, different classes come together from all over the country, flying to Baltimore to play at this school. Used to be called Southwestern High School, is now the Seed School. It's a boarding school in the city of Baltimore. Right across the street from the campus is this house Miss Harris sold me. So Miss Harris, and folks, I'm giving you all nuggets and jewels with this case study. Miss Harris said, I'm interested in selling this property on Frederick Avenue in the 2800 block. I said, okay, Miss Harris, I'll take a look at it. So I looked at it. It wasn't as nice as the other property, but it was wholesalable. It was sellable. It was buyable. And this was going to be a rental property. The rents for this property, I believe it was about 5 bedrooms. So the new landlord would easily get $1,700 a month after fixing up this property. So I put the property under contract for $20,000 and I sold the property for about $42,000. That's a $22,000 profit, right? And I built a rapport and relationship with Miss Harris. Now, I didn't know this, and I want you all, and here comes the nugget. I want y'all to understand, the importance of building relationships. Early on in my business, I didn't build relationships with sellers and buyers. Write this down. This is a relationship business. So Miss Harris, the way I conducted myself, the professionalism, when I said something I was going to do, I got it done, whether it was meeting her on time. This was I looked at her as a senior. She was probably in her late 70s at the time. And I kept the lines of communication open. There are a lot of wholesalers that get in this business and you're just in it for the quick buck, and you're not focusing on the people that are giving you the opportunity. If it wasn't for the people, you wouldn't have a deal, right? And I've been there, kids, but I want you all to focus on the people. So Miss Harris, she goes on to tell me that her and her husband were downsizing their portfolio, and they were looking forward to retirement. They owned, and I don't know if Miss Harris is still around, but they owned the Chapman Harris Funeral Home. So this is a nugget, folks. People die every day. Their funerals every single day, right? All around the country. A lot of people that walk in funeral homes may not have the money to bury their loved one. A lot of people that walk in the funeral homes, their loved ones own property. So that's a nugget. I'm just gonna leave it at that, right? You either gotta get my coaching program or join my academy to figure out the rest. But some of you probably know where I'm going with that, right? So you never know who the sellers or the buyers are that you're gonna be working with in the near future. So focus on building relationships. That goes into the lesson number 9 as well. So folks, that's it tonight. I hope this was an awakening podcast episode. Continue to tap in, like, share, subscribe to the REI Inner Circle YouTube channel. I hope you were empowered by those young brothers from Earn Your Leisure. I know I am. I got empowered 2 years ago. We got something special in store for you all. The Academy will be opening up soon. It's $347 a month. Yes, I am still running my one-on-ones, but I can only reach for so many people coaching folks one-on-one, and my prices for one-on-one coaching are what they are. They've been that way for the last 5-10 years. So I'm opening up the Academy again. The last time I had an Academy, a monthly Academy, was in 2012 during a recession. And it's time to open it back up because I see another recession coming. And if you've been watching, folks, if you've been watching these podcasts, during recessions, the 2008 recession didn't last long. We were coming out of it 2011, 2012. Those are when some of the best opportunities to buy and invest in real estate are, when you're coming out of the recession. So there's a lot of indicators. On the next episode, I'm going to share some of the indicators, some of the data that some financial experts have been sharing with me. I'm going to share it on the next episode. And I'm also going to share my outlook on the current market. I have another property that I'm thinking about renovating right now. And right now we're going through the funding of that deal. So I'm talking to different lenders, and I'm also talking to different city officials that have a stake in properties in the same exact neighborhood. So all of that goes into play. On the next episode, I'm also going to talk about an anchor in my marketplace, but anchors just like this all around the United States that I believe over the next 10 to 15 years are going to be gold mines. Going to be gold mines. And I'm going to show you proof. I'm going to open up Google Maps. I'm going to open up comparable sales sheets and show you where I believe prices will be in the next 10 to 15 years in certain markets. So folks, there's only one thing left to do. Meet me at the closing table. I'm signing off. God bless. Good night. Take it easy.